Why buy your next vehicle from Community Motors of Mason City?
Great service from 3 locations: Community on Monroe, Community Motors Westside, and Mason City Ford. 10 new franchises and hundreds of vehicles to give you more choices. Plus, Community offers an exclusive 3-3 warranty on pre-owned vehicles and 10-year, 250,000-mile warranty on new. Need more reasons why? Stop or visit CommunityAutoGroup.com.
Because nobody beats a community deal, nobody.
I'm here about the I-35 infrastructure and the involvement with the $1 million loan that's going from the WCDA to Worth County for that structure. Kenny and Denny, has questions for you. You're both county supervisors, correct?
Correct.
And you're both on the WCDA board, correct?
I am.
I know, Dennis, are you currently off rotation right now?
Yep.
When are you going back on?
Don't know for sure.
Okay.
You know, it's up to us to apply again. Just
Okay. Don't you think your involvement in the I-35 infrastructure project is a huge conflict of interest as both supervisors and WCDA board members?
Well, the project out there is in the public interest, and we're...
But you're both
All
board members
decisions.
and supervisors. That's what we're talking about.
The decisions we make are based on the best of the public interest, and the best of the public interest out there, of course, is that we were faced with an infrastructure that was out of compliance with DNR regulations, and we were facing the prospect of having that facility closed down out there.
Was Xenia built too small? I'm not familiar with Xenia.
Yeah, originally it was just the capacity was for the Welcome Center. You know, it was kind of a thing back then where they didn't have a lot of money.
So that was before the casino decided to come in.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot about the Welcome Center. And then as far as Xenia being, are we still paying for the Xenia project now with TIF money, or where are we at in paying back the Xenia money that was lost due to their pulling out and the bankruptcy and the whole business? Does the county still owe money on that project?
Yeah, we purchased it for $2.35 million, the assets, and that was through TIFing of some of the
Was it all TIF?
bond, wasn't it?
It was all TIF?
Yes.
Okay, isn't that still taxpayer dollars? Just
Well,
down the
yeah.
road, future dollars?
Sure,
I don't
future
understand
dollars.
TIF for a while.
We're utilizing it
Okay.
for improvements.
So then how much was paid to Xenia initially? $1 million or $2 million?
2.35.
So we spent 4 point something on Xenia?
No, that was for the 2.35 was for the purchase of the facility, and now we're facing an upgrade of $4 to $5 million.
Okay, so that was the total package for Xenia, 2.35 million, after all the litigation and buying it back and everything.
Yes.
Okay, but we're still paying on that for how many years with TIF? 12 or 13?
Yeah.
Okay. And the current TIF that you're talking about, is that a 20-year TIF on the infrastructure out there that you're planning?
Well, we don't know for sure. We haven't actually
Okay, you
done
don't know
that
yet? Okay.
We're not in the process of...
Okay. So then, why is the county giving a $1.5 million grant to Manly? That's what I'm not understanding. Why are they getting, and if it's being paid back, I know Dave, you told me it was being paid back with TIF money, but it's called a grant in your minutes.
Right.
Why is it called a grant, and then why is it being paid for with TIF money if it is a grant? A grant usually means you don't pay it back.
What are you talking about?
The $1.5 million grant to the Manly terminal that was rolled into the $5.5 million
We got $3 million from this, what was it, DOT?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was
and then Iowa Northern put in 1.5, we put in 1.5.
Actually, I think they put in a little more. They put in 2.5.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
But I just wondered if is it a grant or is it a loan?
To them?
Yeah.
No, it's our expense.
That was a
grant. So
it was a grant to get the
to match the funds of the DOT. Okay, of the DOT. Okay, I understand that. So then, what I don't understand is why did you give a grant to the Manly terminal and then turn around and ask the WCDA board for $1 million when you gave away $1.5 million? Is it because you couldn't get a grant directly since Manly Terminal is a for-profit business? Because Manly Terminal could not normally get a business grant out of WCDA. So it looks like...
It was done prior to we ever obtaining the assets of Xenia.
Okay, but,
We had not obtained the assets of Xenia
okay.
that had transpired far before that. And that was the way to do it, was to get the county to do it.
Was to give the grant to Manly Terminal?
Correct.
Okay, and
For
then,
future development and also
Right.
businesses to come in,
okay,
which will also bring a tax base that will help repay the county and the citizens in this
and
country.
is that a 20-year TIF on that?
No, it's only 12,
12 or 13? Okay.
it's all along anymore, 12 or 13.
As long as you go with TIF, we did all the roads too.
Why did you feel that the $1 million coming from WCDA and away from the communities was a good idea? Why did you think the community wouldn't miss the $1 million of grant money to go toward their towns in Worth County? I don't understand why it was given to a business when there's a lot of business things out there, loans out there that don't require, you know, what Worth County has really done great things with the grant money.
Oh,
And to take $1 million out of their pocket and have it go to a project like this, are they getting anything on their investment? Are they going to get any investment back when this is all developed out at at Diamond Joe's? Are they going to receive any tax money back on their $1 million investment that goes back to the kids
Well,
or back to the
do you want to
communities?
take it out of your taxes?
Well, you are, because you're tiffing it.
Correct.
You're
We're
tiffing
ta-
it. You're
we're
already taking it out of my
We're
taxes.
taking it out of both ways.
Well, I don't
Well-
understand why the $1 million has to go from the county grants that came from Diamond Joe, because the county did want the casino, and then go toward the infrastructure because you came up short.
It was just a Worth County, small county. I mean, I'm very proud of what we've done for improving our infrastructure and having the possibility of having a lot of growth in the future. And I don't back down from that one bit. We made these decisions based on, as the three of us, wanting Worth County to grow and prosper, and we feel that the two most advantageous places in the county is at the Welcome Center out there and at Manly Terminal with the rail transportation available. So that's we made that decision to improve it.
Okay, and I understand the
Yeah.
infrastructure will bring more businesses out there.
But what I want to say, we're not touching any of the scholarship money, right?
Oh, yes, you are. But that's a
No.
numbers thing.
The
The 15% off the top touches the education fund, but in reality, it touches the scholarships because it's off the top, and that includes the bottom fallout of scholarships.
Yeah, but I was under the understanding
But
with
that's
WCDA.
another ballgame another
That's another
day.
ballgame,
All of the
another issue. that
scholarship
the
money
David
comes out.
Fish will
I'm here
decide.
about the $1 million that's going from WCDA, and I am understanding the infrastructure is important, but why didn't you put it to the people of Worth County to say, hey, would you like to see this grant go toward this, instead of saying it's going whether you like it or not? And in fact, it has been said it's going, and it hasn't been applied for yet, so it's an assumed grant going
Well,
to...
it's been
That's true.
consultation with the
6 trustees?
36 trustees at several of their meetings, and I think Dan can attest to that. Way back a couple years ago, we brought up the idea that it might possibly have to upgrade the infrastructure out there, and would this be a good use of the money, $1 million to invest out there, so that in the future returns would actually be increased by doing this. And I think the consensus of and maybe not everybody, not every trustee, but of 36, I think the large majority thought that was a good move.
Okay.
Dan, I don't know if you can
Probably close
recollect
to
or not.
95%.
Are you Dan Hendrickson?
yes, I am.
Okay, I
Yeah.
knows the car class.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, as slow moving as I was going out there, and having trouble getting proper funding to take care of it and take it over and get things redeveloped like it should be and the project finished, the idea came up that maybe we should help them out. But after a few meetings, we did decide and took a vote on it amongst us. Yeah, let's give these guys a hand. Let's get that thing going. So
Okay.
that's why that decision was made trustee-wise.
All right. Kenny, don't you and Dennis appoint Dan Reeder for his job as county assessor?
No, we did not.
Who appoints him?
We're part of the three entities. I mean,
Okay.
There's
So
a
you're
school-
part of
school
the
board.
group that
yeah, but
appoints him.
just wait. Just how this works is that the school board has 3 members on the conference board. The let's see, cities have 3
mayors.
representatives, and then of course the supervisors, and then obviously 2 out of the 3 of each committee has to vote approval, you know, for the selection that they make. And so even if the supervisors, you know, didn't vote for him, I mean, the other two could vote for him, yeah.
Okay.
But I guess I'm puzzled. What does that have to do with anything?
Well, I believe it's a conflict of interest when you're asking the WCDA board for $1 million grant and you're on the board and you're appointing, you've got a coworker who's a WCDA president, and I just can't expect that those favors do not come around, being that you're involved in so many
what favors are we talking about?
Well, I'm saying voting for each other's grant ideas or each other's grant requests.
I mean, all this money is going for public projects.
It is going for public projects.
Are you accusing any of us of benefiting?
It looks
monetarily
very difficult.
Individual?
No, not monetarily, not individual, but it looks like everybody's backing everybody up. And what we're wondering is why the trustees, I guess, felt that it was in the best interest. And I know some of the trustees didn't agree. I do know that Dan Reeder met with the trustees and a couple board members met with them to talk them through this process in a private meeting maybe. I don't know if you were there, but they did kind of discuss it further. And I have a problem with the Manly Terminal grant, I guess, because of the affiliation between Gary Christensen and the Sabins. There's a relative in that situation. There's two board members that are on the County Supervisors Board. You have to admit there's a lot of connections, and it's politically connected developing. And I'm just saying that, you know, the Manly Terminal got $3 billion, or I mean, they got, Dan Saman didn't like the idea of the loan guarantees going to the $3 billion ethanol project in Mason City. That was a news article a while back. He said the Manly Terminal was started entirely with private funds. He looked down on the fact that the federal government would be called in to help, and he said that one of his quotes was,
it would be unconscionable for the federal government to provide loan guarantees to a company competing with those of us who are paying our own way.
And so paying their own way and asking Worth County for another $1.5 million, that's a lot of tax burden on us as Worth County residents. My taxes went up this last year because they hadn't been raised in a long time. And that hurt our family. And I know a lot of people in Fertile were not happy about their tax increase. But giving a big loan to a company and not seeing any relief on our end gets to be difficult as a family trying to make ends meet. And the fact that Xenia didn't go and there was TIF money there, there's all kinds of money in TIF, and it's just going to take so much time to recoup it. It's really hard to know, can we afford to do all this using TIF money? TIF money is controversial as well. There's abuses of TIF. I wonder if Gary Christensen didn't know people at the Manly Terminal, would this grant have never happened? That is my question to you.
As far as I know, Gary Christensen was never involved in it.
Well, he's relative to the Sabins, and I know the Sabins are a big family, but I mean, would it have happened if he didn't have that connection of saying, hey, I think we can get you some money? Is there anything to that? That's why I'm asking.
I don't know. I never heard Gary Christensen's name come up at all. That was, what, 2-3 years ago we did that with the Manly Terminal? And I've known the Sabins since 1960.
Uh-oh. You're suspect.
I mean, but you stop and think, Melanie, we're in a small county. I mean, if you don't, most everybody knows everybody. If you want people that don't know anybody else, you're in trouble.
I know, but when you have a board that's connected to so much community business and community development, and they're granting things and pulling grants and doing things as county supervisors that are huge, that's when we start to say, hey, wait a minute, this is just not adding up. There's a lot of money here that... And what did you tell me about...
What money is it? What money is it?
The $1.5 million grant could have been used at the infrastructure. That's my point.
Okay.
Why did you need $1 million?
Are you guys jealous?
No.
You sound to be very jealous. You sound to be greedy.
Well, and you didn't even want to move the infrastructure because you said you could have used the money in better ways. That was
no. I said we would have left the facility where it is.
Right, because it was too expensive to relocate it. Correct.
Right.
And you didn't vote for the relocation. I'm just saying, $1 million coming out of the community for the fall round of grants, I think, is hard for the community.
That's your opinion. That's your opinion.
My opinion. But I'm saying if we didn't give the Manly Terminal 1.5, it could have gone.
A lot of counties
into your infrastructure.
A lot of counties invest a lot of money in trying to develop industrial sites and whatever, cities and whatever. That's just common. it's an economic development tool that's available to us, and
We have used
we're
it.
happy to try to do all we can to make Worth County an
Better place to
opportunity
live.
for jobs.
Will there be more money coming from WCDA to fund the infrastructure?
I have no idea.
Don't know? Okay.
We just agreed to one term, you know, that's all it was.
I've got
The
in-
trustees have agreed to one grant cycle, and we basically agreed to one grant cycle.
Who's applying for the grant?
Yeah, and nobody's applied for this grant. It seems to be out in limbo out there. The grant has not been applied for, and yet it's promised.
Our
And that's
grant
what
will
we do
go in
not
on
understand.
September 13th, right? When we receive the bids for the project.
Well, you
Grant
know
will-
it's $1 million, though. Everybody
Well,
says it's
right.
$1 million, so why do
That's
we
a
bids?
ballpark figure, because we
Oh,
don't
could
know what
be
it
more
is.
or
We're
less?
applying, yeah, more or less. We don't know for sure what it's gonna
We
be.
do not know what the total number is as far as the 25% from the trustees and the 25% the WCDA has. We do
In the
know-
special projects fund?
Then the special projects fund is not touched.
Okay,
The
Special
scholarship fund,
projects fund is not touched.
okay,
It's the grant cycles, the
okay.
25% that's due this 6 months.
correct me if I'm wrong, the scholarship money isn't touched at all, right?
Nope,
It's touched with
That-
the 15% off the top, but that's another day, okay?
that's another day.
That does affect the scholarships, Dave, and I can run the numbers by you later. It does touch them, but it doesn't touch the education.
Nope,
It does affect the scholarships over when you look at the trickle down.
trickle down. But
So I'm just saying that if you and Dennis are serving together, even though you're off rotation,
Mhm.
and Gary's involved, isn't there quorum sometimes with you guys discussing the
No.
Melanne terminal? If there's 2 of you off the board, isn't that quorum?
Why?
I know in the city council meetings, quorum is 2 or more members. If you and Gary are discussing the Melanne terminal,
We don't
Is
discuss
that
it.
not
I don't
court?
discuss the Melanne terminal with Gary.
you've never discussed the Melanne terminal with Gary?
That was all done when Kenny wasn't on the board, the Manly Terminal. That was done
Okay.
before he got on. And Gary Christensen was never in on any
Yeah,
that I know of. I don't know, maybe he
I was
was.
on the board 4 years, remember?
these are all
So,
Okay.
suspect. So just out of curiosity, where did you get all your talking points from?
Well, I've done my research.
Okay.
I've had to do a lot of research because I am tired of being taxed in the county and increased and seeing, you know, what good things can do with this grant money. I'm having a difficult time with how fertile things have happened because they have had conflict of interest all over the place. We have issues with the way the board is connected with the county supervisor's office, and I'll just say that that is an issue to me because I don't feel that that is a good combination for doing business. And that's why I'm here today, is to say, why did you give away money you could have used, you know, for something else? And I believe Manly Terminal could have found other money to match their grant. I believe there's other money out there, and I'd be willing to look for it. But I just believe it was convenient, and it was a message that, you know, they just knew it was here, whether people knew Gary or not. But the Sabins are well connected in this area.
Well, we had public hearings when we had all that stuff. Nobody,
I know.
we never
so
had any
nobody showed
objection.
up.
And it's just,
Yeah. So
And
when we
I-
have public meetings, why don't you come?
Well, that would be nice, but we don't get Northwood Anchor until recently in Fertile, and as a county paper, it has been determined it's sold in Northwood and Manly, and we live in the corner of the county.
You have the
So,
Manly-
as
you
now-
have the Manly signal?
Yeah, but we don't get it in Fertile. So as of
Subscription.
now, we
They
will
call
start
it
be getting the Northwood
subscription.
Anchor so that we can read the legals, because mostly being in the Forest City School District, we get news from Forest City. And that's just kind of the way it's gone. And Dave, you know how that happens. You're in the corner of the county.
Yep.
You don't hear much of what's going on out here. And that's a problem that we have to resolve by getting the paper and watching for your legals. But Dave, it bothered me when you told me that you thought Worth County cities had all their toys that they needed. That bothered me a lot. Because
well, I feel, personally, I mean, every fire department's got about everything they need. Just about every church has had a roof put on it that needs it. If it wants it, someone won't take it. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff done for all of these cities, and we thought, let's put the money, $1 million, whatever the money it turns out to be, toward the sewer system instead of strapping, you know, taking it away. I mean, I don't think we've got some of the best equipped fire departments and
we do,
schools,
and yet,
and everybody's got a lot of money.
yeah.
The county just wants one piece of it this time. I know we get money from the casino twice a year, and monthly we get tax draws, but we just as a board felt, and I don't know when we decided this, what, 2-3 years ago?
Actually, it was 2 years ago at the fall grant cycle. Terry Lutz was there, and I just got elected to come back on the board. And Terry Lutz brought it up to
Had
the
a
trustee-
conversation with
had a
all the trustees
conversation
out there.
with the trustees out at the casino
Okay.
that
After
night.
the banquet, yeah.
At the banquet night. That said that they wanted to use some money if the WCDA would be interested in helping the county if and when they bought Xenia, could get the Xenia bought to do the infrastructure. That's when it was brought up. And that was about probably November of 2010, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That would
yeah.
have been what it was, but November
Yeah.
2010. Asked if the WCDA could help the county out then. And Terry Lutz, the engineer, asked for that. With
Well, he provided the information that they had at that time as to where they were heading, and there was no firm figures at
either
that
way.
time. But what's that?
there was no firm commitment either way.
Right. Yeah, and that consideration was asked, and that's why in the future we ended up having a couple of informal trustee meetings and then bringing it to a formal vote. So.
And I think there's been so much talk about this going on for a year or two, and then, you know, it gets up to the pulling the grant cycle and everything starts coming out about, you know, pulling that
Well,
grant
we
cycle.
didn't want
and
to-
doing
I
that.
think back
It's been
in
in the works for a long time.
January or whatever, we had planned, the WCA put it out into the paper, sent everybody a notice that we're looking for one big grant cycle this fall, and there would be no grants
So in
this year.
fairness to them,
Which
so they didn't have to
assumes
go
to the
through all the
public the
work.
grant is a done deal.
That's-
When you've been telling the public you need to
That's-
apply for the grant and
Then
somebody's got
maybe
to
it is,
approve
maybe
it.
it will be a done deal when it comes
Well,
to
it has to be,
But it has
go
to be-
through all the hoops
It
of,
still has
like
to go
any
through
other
the- it
grant.
still has to
I
go
mean,
through the hoops.
And I understand that, but you have to understand how it looks to us when you have the Worth County assessor as the president of WCDA, and he is, even if he can't vote, you've got a board that's down to one or two people because of the conflict of interest if you have to abstain.
But
Now,
Melanie, was it not out to the public 6 months prior to this, almost a year? Is that-
probably so.
Okay.
But you know what? It's taken me 6 months to
Figure it
research
out, huh?
this and figure it all out because it's very complicated.
Well, it's not complicated, it's just a matter
Well,
of
you've
helping,
been in on it. It's not
helping
complicated.
the county
you
out.
know.
It's just a matter of, and to me, it sounds like you guys are more jealous of money that you're not getting.
No, I'm not
No, I
jealous.
don't think-
I'm
I
not
don't-
looking for money.
Well, you are.
I'm not.
Or you're looking for other people, other
I'm looking for it to go to good use.
other entities in the county to go to the good use, to
And
their
I
use.
understand that
To
the
their personal
infrastructure
uses.
is good use. I would love to see new restaurants, new businesses up at the infrastructure, new jobs.
Yeah.
Sure.
I just feel that maybe the Manly Terminal wasn't the best use of using the grant cycle. I don't know. I don't know much about the Manly Terminal.
What if,
What I
well,
do
the
know,
what if Manly Grant Cycle brings in 200 jobs?
well, that would be fantastic.
There-
And I'll wait to see that. I will wait and watch and see how many jobs it's brought in.
Well,
But
I mean,
I
you
do
might
have
have
a
to wait
problem.
5 years, but it might happen.
And I will be here. But I do have
Will you
a
be happy
problem
then?
with,
Will you be happy then?
I do have a problem with the
Will
conflict
you be
of
happy
interest.
then?
If I
Why
see
are you
growth,
speaking
yes,
to
I
her
will.
that way?
I
Okay.
will. And you know what? The conflict of
I just
interest I
raised my
have,
voice.
going back to Worth County Assessor, being the head of the WCDA president, okay, having supervisors on the board, the conflict of interest reads that if there's a potential conflict or appearance of conflict, it can be controlled by disclosure of interest and the abstention of participation in all matters relating to that possible conflict of interest. It says that there's a bunch of different subheadings that I don't know if the board has really grasped hold of. One is that anybody shall be abstaining from any review of or vote regarding, but it also says that they can't be having activities relating to or any deliberations relating to the organization or institution. You guys have been deliberating as a board about this water infrastructure project and WCD board members for 2 years. You have not abstained and applied by the conflict of interest, and I have a problem with that personally.
Okay.
Because I understand conflict of interest, and I understand this piece of paper that came from your office. So that's where I draw the line and say that's a shady gray line, and I assume that you guys can grasp hold of what it means to be in conflict of interest. But it's been very apparent that it doesn't matter to this board because of the things that you guys have done. And that's where my beef is. And that's all I have to say. I'm sorry that it's been difficult to understand where we're coming from on our end, but we're very concerned about who's doing what and who's politically connected in this county, because it does matter to the people who live here. And that's why I'm here today. That's all I have to say.
I appreciate what you say, Melanie. And I brought this up when Katie and Dennis are both on the board. I have a problem with that too, both of them being on WCDA at the same time, because that's two-thirds of the board members. That is a quorum when you're together.
Yes, it is.
But Kenny was off a year ago and Dennis is off this year. I don't know what's going to happen next year, but I understand what you're saying. And I brought that up when you first got back on. I publicly said something about it because I have a problem with it. But as far as Dan Reeder and Gary Christensen, I don't think there's any conflict of interest there at all.
The assessor being the president of the granting board of money?
Well,
the assessor, his job is to...
He will get the tax money off of that infrastructure, correct, for his county? This is a county interest to him.
Oh,
okay,
man,
that's a conflict of
that
interest.
stretches it pretty good, though.
I don't know if it stretches
wow.
it.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
I do not agree that it stretches it. I may be wrong, but I feel that that is definitely a possibility.
Well,
but I'm done.
Yeah. All right, thank you for your concerns.
Now, who's the other two people with you?
I don't know. This is Shelley.
I'm Dean Krafka.
Okay.
I think your father, daughter?
Yes.
Okay. Right?
Yes.
Thank you.
And who's the gentleman?
My name is Matt Marquardt. I'm from Mason City. I'm with NorthIowaToday.com, local news.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So, nice to meet all you folks.
Yeah.
Just here at Melanie's request to shoot video and do a story on it. So
very good.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your work on me.
If we could make a request for the minutes too.
Sure.
I was trying to read through minutes and figure all this out. There's so much legalese in it. I don't know how you write these up, Kay, but it's hard.
As generic as possible.
As a normal person, and I asked Dave, I said, can you put your minutes, at least the things that we're, the normal person can't understand what is going to happen with some of these documents you put out. So I know in the paper they have to go in a very legal way. But honestly, the normal Joe in my town is not going to understand what is this about. Can you put a paragraph in there that says this is what it's about and this is what's going to happen?
Come to the meetings.
They decide how they put it in. I mean, they can put much more in, but they put in as much as they, according to law, no more.
Right. And that's hard for us. Now, if you notice the time of meetings, I had to take the morning off work to come. I can't come to the public meetings, Mr. Abrams, because I work and I have to have, my mornings are full. Now, if you had them in the evenings, that would be a whole different story. I think you might have a bigger audience, but I know that this is your job and this is what you guys do between 8 and 5. My father-in-law used to sit here and do the same thing, but I know that this is a very difficult time for most people to get away and see what's happening on your board. So that's just why you don't have a lot of people here, I'm guessing.
Well, there's been talk, I think, 5 years ago, of maybe doing a VCR and just have the minutes on the website.
And that'd be great, because then they could hear in English what's happening.
Right.
Because it is very difficult in the paper to come up with what is that all about.
Dad, just have it set here, and then you can
that would be wonderful. We would
pull
watch.
it up and you can see it.
So.
Okay. Have a good day.